Hello, today we'll look at the next part of the many tools I've created, all to find it always value Bitcoin or allesvoorbitcoin.be. If you scroll down, you have a few tools that I've created. So I've updated this today. So yesterday I've showed the seed phrase poker. This was this tool with a manual version. And today we'll look at the 8-rack entropy seed generator. Before I demonstrate this, I need to explain a few things about randomness, entropy, and seed phrases, which are quite important actually. So first of all, there's a bit of, let's say, confusion about what randomness is in information technology and encryption and what entropy exactly means. To put it very simply, I'm not going to do this too technically and in depth, but in general, randomness is the chaotic way of having anything done without any order. For example, a campfire or a waterfall. It's pretty random how the water falls in a waterfall. It's pretty random how a campfire acts. So you cannot predict any of the outcomes. Neither if you, let's say, take 1,000 dices and you throw them all at once, there is no way to predict how they will fall and what the outcome will be. So that's fairly random. That's the way of having randomness done. Entropy, on the other hand, is the quantification of that randomness, the quality or the amount of randomness you have. So, for example, if you throw a 6-sided dice one time, then you can say that it is random because you don't know which side it will fall on, but you can say that it's low entropy because it's 1 through 6, and you can kind of predict where it will fall, and if you're lucky you can predict that it will fall on number 2, for example. That's a very stupid example, but in information technology you need to be aware that there is a distinct definition for entropy and randomness. So, and most people will use that just like it's the same. Entropy is not randomness, and randomness is not entropy. So, if you say this is good entropy, yeah, it can be, but you have to quantify that, and there are different ways of measuring that. Now, what is the 8-rack seed tool? It generates a seed phrase, so that's cool, but you can use it offline. It's open source, and it also checks its own quality. So in this case, it will take randomness, and this randomness is derived from a few sources. And I've deliberately taken some sources that are less entropy and others that are more entropy in quantity. So, for example, the timestamp, in this case, it's the timestamps for the swatch times, the beats. That's low entropy because you can generate this anytime within the 24 hours, and it will swatch beats, it's called, and it will give that trend. Then it's also a simulated dice, 5 10-sided dice rolls emulated from random bytes, which are randomly generated within the browser itself, and then the hardware entropy takes synthetic noises and that sort of stuff as entropy. And these are all mixed together to a SHA-256, producing a 256-bit seed that serves as a foundation for all the randomness. Now you can say like, okay, there are more random things to get. Let's say the lava lamp, which I use in the seed phrase poker. Yes, but then you need to go online and take that entropy from the outside inwards and do it that way. I didn't want to do that with this tool because it needs to be working offline, completely standalone. So what did I do here? It's actually a 3-deck setup. And this is deck A, this is deck B and this is deck C. And every deck has not 52 cards, but 96 cards. And I will explain how I get to that. Now, 96 times 96 times 96, that's a number 884,736. And that number will not tell you much, but if you divide that over the 2048 BIP39 words, then you get every word exactly 432 times, which is awesome because it doesn't need recalculation at all. Some systems use the 52 cards, some systems use dice and whatever, and they all need to do some recalculation or rounding up or rounding down or getting entropy from somewhere and then rounding up and down. This fits perfectly because every word in the 2048 BIP39 word list has exactly the same chances. Exactly 432 combinations are landing on such words, and these are mapped in a giant list that is derived internally. So this way you can perfectly shuffle these three decks, and they are also shuffled each separately. In the first version, I made the small mistake of having exactly the same shuffle algorithms on all three decks, and then lo and behold, there were some strange, let's say, early tests being done. What this does is something else. It gets entropy in, and it shuffles it with 4 algorithms for shuffling in casino grade shuffle algorithms, which means the following for people who don't follow this. So first of all, you have the sequence shuffling, wash shuffling, and riffle shuffling, and then a third one is actually a fractal shuffle. And the first shuffle that always happens is a Fisher-Yates shuffle, which is prevalent in online casinos, for example. And then on top of that, at random, there is a secondary shuffle for each deck. So deck A gets first a Fisher-Yates shuffle, and then one of the sequence shuffle, for example, a secondary one. Deck B, the same. It gets first this one, and then a secondary shuffle, and deck C, the same. And it is measured in quality. When a deck is shuffled, it will be measured how different it is before and after. It takes a hash from the sequence of the cards and then compares it. If there is any error in one of the calculations, or there is bad entropy, or whatever happens, it will log it and it will state that these shuffles are too similar. Same for the entropy. When it starts, the entropy that's coming in will be logged. I will show you, because now it's time to really show what's happening. So you click start, and then immediately it starts with getting entropy. It has 10 attempts to get good entropy. So the randomness that's generated is actually vetted and logged. You see attempt 1 of 10. And it is passable. So that's not very good, but good enough, and it will continue. If it's bad, it will not continue and start all over again with attempt 2 of 10. Passable is good enough. You see here, entropy source. Hardware gives you 256 bits, then the dice rolls about 16, the timestamp about 20 to 30 bits, and then some extra salting, also 256. So the main source of randomness are these two, of course. And then you get a summary of the entropy seed, which is a very long number, but just for logging purposes, it's stated here, so you can see for yourself that it is happening and does something. And then you see the first iteration. Before we did anything, it shuffles all the decks thoroughly, and it gives you a KL score. I'm not going to bore you with how that is calculated, but it is perfect actually. A KL score is the higher the number, the more bad the shuffling was, and it measures it itself. It will be usually perfect or near perfect. And then there is also an extra check, the spearman's check, which is measuring how similar the two decks before the shuffle and after the shuffle were. With these two scores, you can easily derive that this was a good shuffle. So, and then you say run 23 draws. It will start. It also plays a nice sound to say that it started. We also have fun with that. And you see here the log happening. So I will let it run for a bit. The seed phrase is also hidden by default. You can show it or hide it if you like. That's no biggie. And then it shows you what exactly happens in the log here. So now it is generated, and it gives you a quality report at the end. So it also calculates your checksum, and every time it goes and say like, okay, you have drawn these many cards, you have this bits of entropy, and then what it exactly used to reshuffle it. Checksum word is also calculated, and then the randomness report, entropy source, so it sums it up again. Combination is this one. It does 100,000 iterations of that, which is fairly rapid enough. You can go to 1 million, but then it adds up like 1 or 2 seconds of calculation time. And then, yeah, it gives you actually a report on what was happening. So here you see the number of bits that that resulted in this. So to put it mildly, this is very random. How did I build up these decks? Because we need 96 cards in each deck. It gives you actually another set of suits, not hearts or clubs or spades or diamonds, but it gives you something else. So I will reset it. And then you can see for yourself in the legend what happens here. So we have 12 ranks, 1 through 10, and then N for node and S for Satoshi, which is our Jack and Queen, for example. It gives you 12 numbers. I wanted to have some fun and not 11 and 12, but I named it node and Satoshi. You get the idea. It's 1 through 12 as a rank for every deck. And then you have 8 suits, coins, which is the symbol of a circle, vols, which is a square, the pyramid, math, which is the symbol by pi, and then the Bitcoin symbol, of course, the lightning symbol, diamond hands, which I derived from the original playing cards with a wink to the original 4 suits, of course, diamonds, and then the infinity sign, of course, cannot be left out. So these are the card combinations we have, and then yeah, the Kullback-Leibniz divergence is every time is measured, and the Spearman's correlation is measured, and this is the process where we actually generate our randomness and the resulting entropy. So if this is all too much, remember that we actually replaced 52 playing cards with 96 playing cards in each and every deck. The decks are identical, but their shuffling is separate. And the results are also random, because if you shuffle this like 50 or 60 times with a different algorithm than when you shuffle deck 2 and 3, then you will get random results. And every result you have will result in another word being used. So here, for example, you see my system reset because I started again. I will refresh just to show you another log. This quality is good. It's fairly random, so sometimes it's good, sometimes it's near perfect. Oh, okay, this one is better, I think. Excellent. So he has good entropy here, rotation deck. You can read yourself how it actually goes in cascade and shuffles everything. And here, by chance, all 3 decks are shuffled with the same combination, which also can happen. Normally it's different, but it's at random, so it can be the same. So now we will hit run 23 words, and you see the pyramid and the infinity sign and all the symbols happening, and there you see the words. I will show the seed here so you can see live which words are picked by the shuffle, and you see a nice progress bar to see where you get it. If you run this system offline, you just download a page and it's running standalone, then you will get a seed phrase with a random checksum word every time, and this is, I think, as random as you can get with an automated system within the browser. Also, these logs are not public, of course. This is just you in the browser to verify what's going on. And if you don't like to see that, you can just hide it. And with that, you can also examine the code, because it's just HTML and some JavaScript all in the browser. It runs standalone, and I hammer on this because this doesn't need any interaction with any middleman. It doesn't even get entropy from Cloudflare or whatever you want to pick. I have a version where you can choose also to pick randomness from outside, but I deliberately made this not public yet because I really want to make sure that people understand this system first. This is, for me at least, the gold standard for now for generating seed phrases. And why? Because first of all, it's random, it's open source, it has a lot of entropy and a lot of moving parts inside, but also you are 100% sure that every combination that rolls out of here has exactly the same chance of ending up with one word from the BIP list. And with other systems, that's not always the case. For example, a lot of systems will not allow you to have the same word twice, or avoid that because they pick a number from a dice roll or a card list, and then that number is taken out of the list, and then you shuffle what's left. No, this is shuffling all 96 decks every time, and even if there is an error in the calculation, there is a separate algorithm checking that all the decks are present and have all their cards present before they get shuffled and after they get shuffled. So this is fairly good, mathematically speaking, but also from a randomness standpoint. And also, I've put some effort in here to get a workable and beautiful design. You can argue about beauty, of course, but I think this is passable, usable by anyone. And above all, you don't need any subscriptions for this. You don't need any expensive hardware for this or buying special gear. This is just generating a very, very secure seed phrase for you. And on top of that, you can always put an extra passphrase, of course. If you like to put an extra passphrase on there, be my guest, do so. I always say that because even if you trust this system completely, if you add an extra passphrase on top of this, it's even more secure. It's always even more secure if you do that. Furthermore, all the systems that are in here to get this going is made for the community. And I hope people will use it to get their keys themselves. If you like to do that yourself, you can go to the entropy poker video and do that yourself with cards. You can use dice, of course. I've demonstrated that as well. But with this system, you get a very easy, very low entry point for generating a very, very secure seed phrase. And also, once you have that, you can import it also in any wallet like Electrum or Sparrow or whatever you want to use, or the Ian Coleman offline tool. You don't need to go online at all to get a secure Bitcoin wallet. You generate your seed phrase yourself with this system, and you imported it in another offline system, a wallet or whatever you have, and then you can start using it, and you have a Bitcoin address that you can sign with, and you can test that signing offline even just to verify that it works. You don't even need to go online, and you don't need expensive hardware to prove that you have a random seed, because here at least you see what it's doing. You see in the log for yourself how it is generated and how it works, and you can exactly know what you're getting. And with a black box, as I call it, with some hardware wallets, you have no clue how this is generated. But also, more importantly, on hardware wallets, they never give you a report on how they derived the randomness and how they measured their entropy. You don't get that report. If you just click generate my seed phrase on, let's say, a Trezor, you don't get a report of like, oh, this is a very good randomness. You don't know where they get their random numbers, and if you know, or if they say you like we get it from our secure chip element or whatever, you don't know which algorithms are used, and you don't know how it is shuffled, and you don't know what the chances are for every word. In other words, if they made a pre-made list of seed phrases, and you get one of those, you wouldn't know the difference. And with this, you can easily see because you can read the code yourself. If you go to the code, it's no secret. It's just HTML. It's so simple. So you can just read what is happening here, and you can verify that there are no shenanigans in there. Everything that's in there is necessary to measure and to self-check, and all the rest is a bit of UI, of course, but all the rest is non-logging, and you can, well, use it like you want. So this is as secure as I can make it. The only thing it needs from the outside is the MP3 files to play the nice sounds when it's generating. It will give an error if it cannot reach those sounds, which is fine. It's perfectly normal. And it's also stated in the log, like, I cannot reach the MP3 file, and this is perfectly normal because, yes, you're offline, you will not play the MP3 file. That's in archive.org somewhere. If you don't want that, just use it offline, and there's no risk or anything. Also, people can iterate on this if they want to take the code out and steal it from me, which is commonly prevalent in the Bitcoin space, stealing from someone and then slapping your own logo on top of it. If you do that, please give some credit, and if you like my work, please click donate here, and then you can go to the nice donate page and pick any way of donating to me and supporting my work. And that's it.